I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, December the 28th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Try their feedlot starter tub for the first 21 days for new cattle upon arrival. You'll have better luck with them. Get the blue tub. Visit Vitalix.com. I trust all you guys had a good Christmas. I tell you what, by looking at my social media, which has been maxed out for the last several years, and 99% of it's from the cowboy type. None of you guys followed the direction of Dr. Fauci and all those people that wanted you to not get together with your family. I'm proud of you. It looked like all of you enjoyed yourself, got together with your family, and I'm not to say that some people aren't going to come down with the COVID. I'll tell you what, several people are coming down with it, and the lion's share are getting right over it. But I tell you what, what's our life worth if we're not going to enjoy things at the holidays? We're worried about our life and our value of life. Well, if you can't get together with your family at the holidays, what kind of life are you living? I mean, this deal just keeps dragging on. It'll soon be a year we've been dealing with this crap, and none of the things that they've tried to do to us, social distancing, masks, shutting businesses down, all this, none of it's worked yet. It just continues to get worse. Everybody's going to have to get it. Yeah, it'd be great if if everybody got vaccinated and it worked. A lot of us don't care to be vaccinated. It's not to say that I think I'm tougher than it is, and I don't know for sure whether I've had it or not, but I still don't want a vaccination. But there are people that likely wouldn't make it through it if they did get it, and so those people need to get in line first, get their vaccination. The rest of us get back together, get some herd immunization going, get over this stuff. I'll tell you what. But we had a holiday gift come in right before Christmas there on Christmas Eve. We were going through here and pretty much everybody given up on the holidays. There weren't too many feeder cattle auctions going on. Wednesday and on from there. Did have a few, and some of them had lighter runs than what they really thought, and some of them in the northern plains ended up having a kind of a blizzard come through, and that curved receipts or kind of ruined what they thought was going to be a little pre-holiday special that they thought they were going to have. But we did have your packers come in and get pretty aggressive on buying fat cattle on Christmas week. And you're thinking, wait a minute. They've been telling us for a month that they didn't need any cattle. They weren't going to kill hardly any cattle at all during the holidays. They had a backlog of cattle already bought up. Didn't need any cattle. And so, what the heck? We might as well go ahead and take Christmas vacation. Well, funny thing, just like I tell you guys, and when they start coming out early in the week looking around for cattle, that means they need cattle. And they did that on Christmas week. Started bidding on cattle Tuesday. They were getting a few weak sisters to throw in, but they hadn't hardly sold any cattle by Tuesday night. By Wednesday, they were all raising their bids in $1.10, $2 higher. We thought we might gain $1 or maybe $2 throughout the whole holidays. We gained 2 full bucks Christmas week. We got a good chance to gain another $2 this week here, your New Year's week. We'll see what happens, but pretty good deal there, and it's nice to see them come in, and good for the guys that held out and waited, but they traded several cattle, and likely we're going to have a weekly total that's similar to the 2 previous weeks, which were really light and running in that 50 to 60,000 head range in there. But what was the big news that happened on Christmas week? Well, we kept seeing news about Tyson taking a big hickey from one of their suppliers that they had been financing, and not just on a Formula Sweetheart deal. And they didn't just have the cattle tied up, they had financed the cattle, from what I hear. And anyway, there's not enough cattle there, and they were getting towards the end of the year. I'm not sure what tipped it off, if it was a rolling inventory or what. But comes up, they were way short of cattle. And anytime you start floating guys that they're supposed to have cattle out there, that they're preparing for you, backgrounding for you, feeding for you, what have you, even taking care of them, and you're not keeping tabs of them, you got a good chance of getting screwed. And you guys have seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it happen, and I've seen the guys to blame that you would have never thought ever that they would be capable of doing something like that. But desperate people do desperate things, and if you just got a kind of a floating inventory like that, you tend to put the bad deals off and just kind of build them up on the cattle that you should have coming, and then you don't have enough cattle. You're better off to just take your hickeys as you go, and then you don't get quite so aggressive as you're putting those cattle together. But Tyson loses $285 million because one of their feeding suppliers that they were financing, from what I hear. You don't see that in the reports. You also don't see the name of the supplier or the feedlot that's supposedly supposed to have all these cattle. But the word on the street is the name reminds you of the Resurrection. And you guys that know enough about northern or Great Northwestern feeding outfits know who that is. The supplier only represented 2% of the cattle, which is not a big deal to us, but it's a big deal to laymen that are reading that report, saying that they lost $285 million, but that's how many cattle they come up short. You would have thought maybe they could have got a intern, a college kid, hired a transient or somebody to drive through those feedlots and kind of see how many cattle they had there and if there was enough. But come up $285 million short, and likely due to a misappropriation of funds. Heavily diversified outfit that was feeding those cattle for them. Had a lot of places that they could have patched to put the money up. Evidently they put it into other things. Well, when somebody says, start feeding us a jillion cattle and we'll come get them as they get ready, that makes it a pretty easy target. But due to the misappropriation of funds, they overstated their cattle inventory, and you get a big deal like that. You don't very often see a packer that gets screwed by a cattle feeder, cattle producer, and somebody in the cattle business. Usually it's the other way around, and it's not a big deal because there's so many of them that are getting screwed. It doesn't add up to that much money, so it doesn't get that much of a headline. They screw them a little bit at a time, just kind of henpeck them to death, if you guys know what I mean, and I know most of you do. But bad deal happened. It was a big news item there, but the biggest news item that you probably should get on that deal is that Tyson Foods got hit with a $285 million hickey, and every report that you read about that says going to have very little impact to the company at all. Now that doesn't work for you and I, but it'd be hard to imagine to be that big, to take a $285 million hickey. Nothing to worry about, no big deal. Got plenty of money, made record profits in the billions, not to mention millions, during the pandemic outbreak and all the gouging that went with. So not that big of a story, but it was the biggest cattle story that kind of hit through Christmas week. I talked about the blizzard that kind of come through your northern plains there like a couple days before Christmas. Now we're looking for another big storm to come through, and guys are getting kind of scared about this one because it looks like it could be quite a deal coming through, and depending on where you're at in the northern plains and Midwest, but we've got a pretty good storm coming in the north side. But pay attention to that. Your fat cattle market loves a storm. The market itself does. So if we do see a big storm, we could see that market come to us a little easier than what we thought. But we should be able to gain another buck or two, as aggressive as they got last week and as willing as they were to go $2 higher. Let's talk about the board for last week. December live cattle futures. Monday was up 12 cents, Tuesday down 27, and it was a pre-holiday market there. Everybody thought that the board had performed too well a couple weeks before, and it was overbought and all this stuff, and it was time for it to back up Tuesday because it was down 27 cents. Wednesday up $1.60. That goes to show you how willing your out of the industry buyers are, your long positions are, once they heard that that trade was starting to take place there, to go ahead and add that too. You know, we're about to get to a par basis there, getting $1.10, and they went ahead and raised that December live cattle futures up $1.60 to push it on up there to another a couple dollar negative basis there. But Thursday up another 22 cents. Friday was Christmas, of course. December live cattle futures end the week at 112.15, up $1.68 for the week. February ended at 114.97, or right there at 115. So that's looking pretty good going forward, guys. We need to keep. We got a fire built here. We need to keep stoking that fire. And just like a hot shot, keep prodding this thing to gain some more ground here while the sun shines. And the sun's not shining because it's wintertime, of course. But while we have opportunity to gain ground in this market, I know you guys, you cattle sellers, you negotiated cash sellers, it's always on your backs. But it's time to make hay, guys. But that February contract was up just 12 cents. And not up nearly as much as your spot December. But you look off out there into April, sitting right around 119, and that doesn't sound too awful bad. A lot of us have been saying over the last 2 or 3 months it needs to get back to 120. It sure belongs up there somewhere, and some guys are seeing that 119 and thinking, now I can go in there and get a bite and hedge what I've been buying here. Some cattle that I bought, a month, 6 weeks ago that weren't quite reaching. But how about feeder cattle futures? January feeder cattle up 17 on Monday, down 72 on Tuesday when they thought we were going to come off on a holiday deal there. But then Wednesday up 37, following your fat cattle trade there. That was up $1.60 on Wednesday. Thursday, your feeder cattle futures for January were up 65. Friday was Christmas. January feeder cattle ended the week at 140.92, still higher than what cash feeders are. That was up 47 cents. March was 142.32, up just 2 cents, or just about steady for the week. But you look out there into August, and I told you guys be paying attention to that August. 150.80 for those green grass yearlings coming off grass there in your major grazing regions there. That looks pretty good. You might want to try to get something hooked to that. You might want to go ahead hedge those yearling feeder cattle. If you can find some outfit to give you a basis trade, you might want to do that. But looking at that 150.80, tell you what, these guys are looking for grazing cattle in January like they always do, because we don't have never enough when it gets to March and April. They're going to buy some of these hard wintered calves. Going forward, January, February, March, they're going to get pretty aggressive on these things. That's going to make higher markets, guys, for these stalker type cattle and these lighter backgrounding type calves. So you want to get paying attention to that. Let's talk about your fat cattle trade. Through Tuesday, and I told you there was a few weak sisters selling out, kind of similar money as we were getting the week before, but not very many. Through Tuesday, only 3,300 head, and we thought maybe that was all we were going to trade for the week. Come out Wednesday, Packers got very aggressive because they didn't want to come into the New Year short bought. Because we're kind of feeling like that we're going to come into the new year with a blast anyway. They don't want to come in on higher futures, higher cash markets everywhere, and then short bought too. So they wanted to get some cattle bought there. Christmas week, sold several cattle, and mostly at $1.10 live. I want to give you a rundown in the 4 areas that we get information from. Of course, Colorado doesn't give us information because of confidentiality reasons, and we just don't have enough players. That's why we need minimum negotiated cash trade mandated, guys. We need it so badly. Please get in there and support groups that support that. It hasn't gone away. It's still out there. That's why we're putting off the reauthorization of mandatory price reporting, so we can still use that and we don't have to wait 5 years. But I don't know, who knows, maybe a change of administration could actually help that, but we need to get going on it as soon as we get back for the new year. Iowa sold 6,500 head confirmed on Wednesday, and it didn't start real early. So these totals I'm going to give you, which are fairly impressive, they're going to be bigger than that. So likely going to have a movement, like I said, closer to what we had the previous 2 weeks. But 6,500 head confirmed in Iowa on Wednesday, 105 to mostly 110. Always a spread in Iowa there because guys just aren't getting the full grunt of the market, and that's why I tell you guys you got to get a hold of one of those cooperative marketing groups, and so you can sell your cattle at the top of the market instead of somewhere below, and it won't cost you just a few bucks a head. Nebraska, 5,600 head there on Wednesday, 108 to 110, so a narrower range there, and it was largely 110 in your best tested categories there. But dress sales, 172. That's $4 to $5 higher than the previous week. That's a good trade there on a dress market. Kansas, almost 15,000 head confirmed on Wednesday, and like I said, likely a lot more than that they didn't get put in before the 2 o'clock deadline there. But 110 was the price, $2 higher. Texas, 5,800 head, $110. Pretty good deal to gain market on a short holiday week, buying for another short holiday week. Box beef cutout values ended up higher. They've kind of stopped the bleeding. You know, they lost a lot of ground the last 2 or 3 weeks, but this last shortened holiday week, I told you they didn't care if they moved much product. They just wanted to shore up those price levels, and they kind of did that. Choice cuts through the week there, which was a short week and didn't amount to too much, but your weighted average on choice product, 209.71, up 94 cents compared to the weighted average from the previous week, and selects 198.26, up 5.35, so a big gain on selects on a light holiday movement and a short week. 374 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Your slaughter, not too bad. They weren't going to slaughter anything, right, through the holiday week, and we don't know what they did on Christmas Eve. That'll be the big story to tell. But through Wednesday, 354,000. That was only 3,000 less than the previous non-holiday week, and not comparable to a year earlier because of the way the holiday fell. But let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the week here, actually recording this on Saturday night because I got to drive all day Sunday, at 137.20, and that's down 71 cents for the week. And like I said, just light holiday runs for the most part all around. Most of your bigger sales are not going to have a sale here. Your high volume early week sales, most all of them are going to be closed. Joplin Regional Stockyards, they don't have their first sale till the 4th. Oklahoma National Stockyards, not till the 4th. Like I said, most all your sales for sure Monday and Tuesday. They might start having a few light holiday runs on Wednesday and Thursday, but a lot of those sales are going to be having replacement female specials at the end of the week, because typically guys want to spend money late in the year, so they've always done that, even though not very many people have a whole lot of money to spend, other than maybe some CFAP money. That they've always kind of done that, had holiday replacement specials with bred heifers, bred cows, and the like there. But one place they are going to have a sale today or Monday, which you may be watching this on Sunday, but here on Monday, right after Christmas, during New Year's week, Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri. They've got a pretty big sale on Monday, and I was looking on there. Jack Harrison sends out a text, and he had string after string after string of them, and a lot of them be multi-drafts, you know, load lots and bigger. You can buy a lot of really nice cattle, backgrounded cattle, short yearling type cattle there that'll feed like yearlings, and some really nice deals and some big strings of reputation cattle at Callaway Livestock Center here Monday the 28th of December. You can view and bid dvauction.com. They haven't always done that, but we've signed them up here this past year. dvauction.com. You might just want to get on there and watch and see what the market is here. There's kind of a lot of uncertainty going through the holidays, but you can view and bid right there at Callaway Livestock Center, Kingdom City, Missouri. Now, talk about what went on this past holiday week here before Christmas. One of the sales that did have a sale there was Ozarks Regional Stockyards, West Plains, Missouri, on Tuesday. Light run, 1,000 head. Likely was expecting more, but guys just got to thinking about the holidays and they thought, we can just wait. Not well tested there. Dan Hill, former co-worker of mine and a good friend, he did note in there their receipts for the year were actually up in West Plains. And we've had lighter feeder cattle receipts in the auctions, not just on the auctions. We've had lighter runs of feeder cattle and calves all this last year because we didn't have as many cows, and there were less cows than what the government told us they were in the inventory report. And we know that supplies are getting back in our favor, but lighter runs all over the country. But I've always said sale barns are either getting bigger or getting smaller. Individual sale barns, you're either gaining or you're losing. You're not staying exactly the same. Well, West Plains is gaining. So their receipts for the year were up 3.2%. They were likely taking cattle from other places. Their receipts were up 5% compared to the 5-year average, so hanging in there and doing really good. I'd like to think it's because they are helped a little bit from internet bidding from DV Auction. They've also started their in-house video, which has been pretty successful here, and they didn't start that till kind of late in the year. But receipts at Ozarks Regional Stockyard for the year, just about 175,000. And that's a lot of cattle to sell in an individual sale barn, guys, without firms or separated out like that. Doing a really good job there at West Plains. That is extreme south central Missouri. You can throw a rock to Arkansas, guys. But we figure there's many viable sales. Most of you figure a sale that's getting 50,000 cattle. That's a pretty good sale. That's a going sale. That'd be a regional type sale. But then when you get to 100,000, that's a high volume type sale. You get like Ozarks Regional Stockyard, 175,000. Now you're getting, up there close to the top 10 in the nation. That's a lot of cattle. And you see markets up north, further in the northern plains, that have bigger weekly runs, but they don't have a sale every week like they do in West Plains. And they don't get a lot of cows like they do in West Plains. West Plains has a heck of a cow sale every Wednesday, guys. But they did have another one of their in-house video auctions, 1,900 head there last Tuesday. And it went pretty well. Had another successful sale there. They did see quoted a load 725-pound steers current delivery there local at $139.50. Another load of 820-pound feeder steers there local for current delivery, $137 that sold on the in-house video. So pretty good deal there. Another place that had a sale, and I've told you a lot of those replacement specials right here around the holidays. Bassett, Nebraska, Bassett Livestock there. They had their sale on the 24th, Christmas Eve, which they didn't intend to do that. They were planning on having it the 23rd, but they were getting blizzard-like conditions there. Didn't want people to have trouble or accidents trying to get in there to buy those, and sure didn't want to hurt the market on them, so they just put it off a day till that deal kind of blowed over. Got along really good. Give you a little breakdown of what I saw. Bred heifers are running mostly from $1,500 to $1,875 with one stick-out deal at $2,000 per head. Young bred cows mostly selling from $1,900 to $2,200. Your solid mouth bred cows mostly $1,400 to $2,000. Had one stick-out deal at $2,150. Your short and solid mouth cows getting on the older side, but still got many years of good life ahead of them. They were selling from $950 to $1,175, and you know the kind of quality they have in Bassett, Nebraska. But on that short and solid mouth deal, like I said, mostly $950 to $1,175. Had a stick-out deal, the Carson consignment there, $1,600 per head for short and solid mouth cows. You're killing cows up through the northern plains and the Midwest on your good slaughter cow market. Your high dressing cows there over the holiday week we're selling from $55 to $65. Your best bulls, those have been the high dressing cows, guys. Empty, a lot of meat on them. High dressing, heavy muscle bulls without any fat on them from $80 to $87. So that's kind of what we see going forward. But the best stick out sale that I saw, the latest in the holiday week on Wednesday, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day, Huss Livestock Market, Kearney, Nebraska, this past Wednesday, sold 51 head, 802-pound steers through the ring, 145 1/4. That's your feeder flash for Monday.